Good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, April 24th, and today under our number 24 we have a birthday cake, which means that it's one of our classmates' birthday today. Today is Wesley's birthday. He is turning 5 years old today. So I hope you're watching, Wesley, because we'd like to wish you all a very happy birthday and congratulations on turning 5 years old today. We hope it's a wonderful year for you. So boys and girls, as you're watching, if you could sing happy birthday with me, that would be fabulous. Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Wesley. Happy birthday to you. May the dear Lord bless you. May the dear Lord bless you. May the dear Lord bless Wesley. May the dear Lord bless you. Happy birthday, Wesley. I hope you have a great day. So since today is number 24, we're going to count to 24. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Excellent job. When I see you on Monday, tomorrow, Saturday will be 25, Sunday will be 26, and when I see you on Monday, it'll be April 27th. So let's see if we can sing the days of the week. Ready? 7 days in the week. So you take 5, and you have 2 more. 5, 6, 7. Right? So 5 plus 2 more makes 7. Ready? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There are 7 days, there are 7 days, there are 7 days in a week. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And we're still in the month of April, but next week on Friday, we're going to be changing months. So it won't be April anymore, it's going to be what comes after April. Let's do our months of the year. Ready? January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. Hooray, hooray. September, October, November, December. These are the months that I remember. What did we say after April? January, February, March, April. That's right, May. Next week, at the end of the week, it will be the month of May. Getting closer and closer to summer, boys and girls. So I'm going to send you off right now to see Crystal Ball. She's going to see who she sees in her crystal ball to say hello, and then we'll come back for our lesson today. Today you're going to be doing the second side of your religion page, and we're going to be writing the numbers 9 and the number 10. See you in a few minutes.
Magic, magic, magic ball, please help me to see them all. Shine your light so nice and bright. Tell me now who's in my sight. I see Samantha and Finian. I see Penelope from Mrs. LaFawn's class and her brother Roman. I see Gideon from Miss M's class. Lorenzo from Mrs. Kinnear's class. I see Isabella M. from Mrs. Ziegler's class. Have a fantastic Friday, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. See you soon. Bye.
Welcome back. Today in your religion book, you're going to be working on the second side of the page we started yesterday. And I'm going to read this to you right now, okay? It says, in our special family, remember we're talking about our bigger family now, called the church, Jesus shows us how to love one another. We very often refer to Jesus as our teacher. Jesus is a teacher because if we watch the way that he treated one another, the way that he prayed, the way that he loved his Father God in heaven, and we follow him, we do what he did. He teaches us how to love one another. And in this page it says, Jesus says, love one another as I love you. So that means if you watch the way that Jesus loved others, if you listen to the stories about Jesus and how he showed love to others, he asks us to love other people the same way. If you remember at the beginning of the school year, we talked about ways that you show love for people in your family, ways that you show love to other children in your class, your friends, people in your community. All of those things that we do are examples that we follow from Jesus. So here it says, do you remember the name of the book that has all of the stories about God? Do you remember what it's called? It's called it starts with a B, the Bible, right? The Bible has a lot of stories in the gospel part of the Bible all about Jesus and his life. So over here it says we learn about Jesus from the Bible. And at the bottom here, there are pictures that tell 2 stories from the Bible about Jesus and how he showed love for others. So if you've been watching on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, Mrs. Capron has been reading aloud some of the Bible stories that we've been putting in the morning lesson. And all of the stories she's been reading about lately are stories about Jesus and how he showed love. Over here, we have 2 stories about Jesus' love. There is a story, and I would like you to listen to this. It's about one day when Jesus was teaching about God, about how to follow God. And there were so many people that were coming to him because people love to hear him speak. And the people stayed for hours. They stayed all day. And they were so hungry. And over here, there was only enough food for maybe a few people. Just a few fish, a few loaves of bread. And in that story, Jesus said, bring that food to me. And by a miracle, remember Mrs. Capron talked about the miracle as something that only God can do. It's his way of showing love for us. By a miracle, those few loaves of bread and fish were changed into enough so that everybody in the huge crowd would have enough to eat. And this is a story about Jesus feeding the people who are hungry. Do you think that we can do that in our community if we're going to have Jesus be our teacher and we're going to follow Jesus to love other people the way that Jesus loved us? If Jesus fed people that were hungry, how can we work to help feed people that are hungry? Can you think of something we did at school this year? Do you remember when we brought in food for the people who were poor, the people that did not have enough food to eat? That is something that you can always do to help. I know some of you are gardening, and if you're gardening, when your plants start to grow and produce fruit and vegetables, maybe you can bring some of the fruit and vegetables to the farmers markets or to the food pantries in your parishes to help feed people who don't have enough food. Also, if you go shopping and you have extra food in your house, maybe you can donate some of that food to those people who are hungry. And by doing that, you will be doing God's work. You'll be feeding the hungry just as Jesus did. And feeding the hungry is a way to show love. Over here, you can see how surprised these people are. And there are many stories in the Bible where there were people who were sick, that had illnesses or diseases, and Jesus helped to cure them, to make them well again. And although you and I are not doctors or nurses, there are things that we can do to help people heal, to help people feel better. Think about when maybe somebody is sick in your home, in your family. What kind of things do you do to help them feel better? I know some of you said maybe you draw a picture for them. Some of you say that you give them hugs and kisses. Sometimes you will just be nice and quiet so that they can rest. All of those things that you do to help other people, you're doing God's work. When you know someone is sick and you know that they need help and you think about them, what they need, what they want, and you do everything you can to help them, you are doing God's work as well. And you are helping to heal people who are sick. Maybe some of you will grow up to be doctors and nurses and all of those wonderful people who are working so hard to keep all of us healthy. So look at these pictures today with your family And maybe if you have a Bible at home, maybe you can read the story about Jesus with the loaves of bread and the fish that he used to feed the large crowd. And maybe you can read some of the stories in your children's Bible about Jesus when he helped the people who were sick. Now, I wanted to show you this chart. I showed this to some of the children who came on Wednesday morning to the Zoom meeting. But here I have a picture of 6 kinds of birds, 6 species of birds that often come to my bird feeder at my house. And sometimes I look at them and I say, oh, I don't remember what the name of that bird is, what kind of bird that is anymore. So what I did is I looked these birds up by color, by sound, by whether or not they had a tuft on their head, the type of beak that they had, where they feed, whether they feed in the trees, in the ground, in the sky. And I found these pictures and a little bit of information about them. And I put it on this cardboard. It was actually the box from a pizza box. I put it on the cardboard and I leave it with my binoculars by my window. So whenever a bird comes to the feeder, I can look at this and I can say, oh, I know what that is. It's an American goldfinch. Or I might say, that bird has blue on it and it has black stripes and it has a little tuft off the back of its head and it makes a very loud noise. That is a blue jay. So I can look at this information and use it as my guide. So as you're seeing more and more of the same types of birds that come into your yard, the ones that are in your community, what you can do is put their pictures maybe on a piece of cardboard with the name of the bird, and as you see them come, you're going to start remembering what the name of those birds are. It's a nice little resource to have by your bird watching area. I'm going to show you some pictures that came in this week. Aria was showing me some of the beans that she is growing and how well they are doing. Those are the yellow bean seeds. Those were those black beans that we planted. This one's a little tough to see because it's through a screen, but Austin sent this to me, and when he was bird watching, he saw these birds right outside his window on the bird feeder. Isn't that cool? And then I asked all of you this week if you could do a little bit of sketching and drawing birds, and I wanted to show you this beautiful picture that came in. Look how colorful and well designed that is. Isn't that a beautiful piece of art? Do you see the bird feeding on the berries? Nice job, Aria. Let me see, I have another bird drawing here in my paperwork. Oh, here's a picture. Aria was following along with the lesson on drawing the bird. That is really cool. Here is another bird drawing that I have. Just hold it up. It's a little windy out today. Isn't that beautiful? See the tree and the sky and the sun right next to the bird. Mrs. Capron had asked that I show these to you. Her son was out ice fishing up north, and when they were fishing, they saw some large birds that came down, and Mrs. Capron's son's friend is a photographer and took these wonderful pictures. I'm going to show you this eagle. Do you see that? You probably can't see it very well, but eagles actually hunt with their feet. They have those talons, those really sharp claws on their feet, and that's how they reach and grab their food, by using that. So they fly very, very high. I've been seeing more and more eagles around lately. And here we have a picture of this hawk. And a hawk does the same thing. It grabs, it has those talons on the bottom of its feet, and it actually makes a very loud noise, but it grabs its food with its feet, just like we grab our food with our hands. We have some bird watchers here. There's a wonderful picture of Aria bird watching. Isn't that a beautiful area? There's a pond back there. Here is a picture of Savannah and her sister bird watching with the binoculars that they made. Let's see what else I have. I have so many that came in this week. That is fantastic. I was so excited. Every time I receive a picture by email, it's kind of like a little special gift that Mrs. Lusardo gets. Here we have Knightley with her beautiful binoculars that she made, getting ready for bird watching. And here she is with another picture of her binoculars, all decorated with that wonderful bow. So colorful. We have, let me see. Over here I have, this week we had a lesson using a game board, using numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 with dice, and then transferring it over to the numbers 1 through 6. And it was a race to the beehive. Here she is, Knightley, right, with her family playing that wonderful game. I hope you had fun doing that. I know today you're going to be doing, playing Go Fish. Go Fish with your cards that I sent home with you, or a deck of cards that you have at home. That's going to help you to learn the numbers better and better, and which ones are more and less and all of that. Speaking of fish, we have our friend Finian went fishing with his dad and caught this wonderful fish. A lot of these pictures are on our Facebook page, so if you want to take a look at more of these, check out the Facebook page. What a great day it was for them, and look at that fantastic fish that Finian caught all by himself. And the plants, here's Knightley with her 17-inch bean plant. Isn't that fantastic? I bet it's going to grow even higher. Those bean plants are growing higher and higher. So she's using math. She's using her ruler to measure, to see how, it's a tape measure, to see how tall they're getting. And she can measure from one week to the next to see if it keeps getting taller and taller. You can also count the leaves on the stem. That's a nice way to do math. Now, this was pretty neat. Our friend Ryan was doing an excavation activity. Okay, you can see his mallet, and he was he had a block of right over here, and he was banging the mallet to see if he could excavate some bones or some fossils from the dinosaurs. He was doing a dinosaur fossil hunt. Isn't that great? And see the safety glasses that he's wearing to protect his eyes in case any pieces break free. And then, once he found all of the bones, he put the kit together and put this dinosaur back together. Isn't that really cool? Now, so far we've learned how to write numbers 1 through 8. And I'm so proud of the work that you've been doing. Today we're going to learn to write the number 9 and the number 10. And after we do that, all of the other numbers that you're ever going to write have all the numbers that we've done this week. So if you can write a 4 and you can write a 3, you'll be able to write 43. If you can write a 1 and a 9 and a 2, you'll be able to write 192. So here's number 9. 9 is not too bad, okay? First thing you're going to do is right under the top line, you're going to make a circle that goes up, touches the top line, comes around, touches the middle line, and closes back and makes a full circle. But instead of the little O being under the dotted line, it's going to be over. Okay, it's going to touch the middle line and the top line. Then what you're going to do is you're going to start right on the right side of the circle, and you're going to make a straight line that comes down. And that, let me just use it a little thicker so you can see. That is a number 9. Okay? Almost looks like a P, but backwards. Ready? Circle, top line, touch the middle line, close it, and then start on the side, not on the very top, but on the side of it, and make a line that comes straight down to touch the bottom line, and that's a number 9. Let's count to 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All my fingers except for one thumb. Okay? Now the number 10 piece of cake. Ready? Number 10 has 2 digits. It has the number 1, which we learned how to make Monday, and then it has the number 0 after it. Ready? Number 1, which we've learned how to make the first day. Start on the top line and come straight down to the bottom line to make a number 1. It would be called a lowercase l if we were talking about letters and sounds, but because we're talking about how many, it's the number 1. And then right next to it, I made a little bit darker here on the lines for you, just so that you could see, we're going to write the 0 after the 1. Excuse me. We're going to write 1 first, and then to the right side of it, we're going to put a 0. Ready? 0 looks very much like a capital O. So we start at the top. We go to the left. So we're going back toward the 1. Come down. Touch the bottom. And around, back up. Let me try it from here. Ready? Start at the top. Come down, around, touch the bottom line, and come right back up and make that oval. That oval is going to touch your top line. It's going to touch your bottom line. When you have a 1 with a 0 next to it, that is a 10. Let me write it again over here. Ready? 1, top. Always start at the top and go down. And then a 0 right next to it. Start at the top, come around to the bottom, touch the bottom, come back around to the top. And we have a 1, 0. Those numbers, when they're next to each other, make the number 10. Let's count to number 10 together. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need all my fingers. 7, 8, 9, 10. All of your fingers. There are 10 fingers. If you counted all of your toes, there would be 10 toes as well. So that is the number 10. It's time for a story, everybody. Ready?
Mrs. Lasardo forgot to read chapter 6 to you on Wednesday. Instead, she skipped ahead to the bad news part. So I'm going to read chapter 6 to you today from Charlotte's Web, which is called Summer Days because it's such a great chapter. Here we go. Chapter 6, Summer Days. The early summer days on the farm are the happiest and fairest days of the year. Lilacs bloom and make the air sweet and then fade. Apple blossoms come with lilacs, and the bees visit around among the apple trees. The days grow warm and soft, school ends, and children have time to play and to fish for trout in the brook. Avery brought a trout home in his pocket, warm and stiff and ready to be fried for supper. Now that school was over, Fern visited the barn almost every day to sit quietly on her stool. The animals treated her as an equal. The sheep lay calmly at her feet. Around the 1st of July, the workhorses were hitched to the mowing machine, and Mr. Zuckerman climbed into the seat and drove into the field. All morning you could hear the rattle of the machine as it went round and round, while the tall grass fell down behind the cutter bar in long rain swathes. Next day, if there was no thunder shower, all hands would help rake and pitch and load, and the hay would be hauled to the barn in a high hay wagon, and Fern and Avery riding at the top of the load. Then the hay would be hoisted, sweet and warm, into the big loft, until the whole barn smelled like a wonderful bed of timothy and clover. It was fine to jump in and perfect to hide in, and sometimes Avery would find a little grass snake in the hay and would add it to the other things in his pocket. Early summer days are a jubilee time for birds, in the fields, in the house, around the barn, in the woods, in the swamp, everywhere, love and song and nest and eggs. From the edge of the woods, the white-throated sparrow, which must come all the way from Boston, calls, "Oh, bibbity, bibbity, bibbity." On an apple bough, the phoebe teeters and wags its tail and says, "Phoebe, Phoebe." The song sparrow, who knows how brief and lovely life is, says, "Sweet, sweet, sweet interlude, sweet, sweet, sweet interlude." If you enter the barn, the swallows swoop down from their nest and scold, "Chicky, chicky," they say. In early summer, there are plenty of things for a child to eat and drink and suck and chew. Dandelion stems are full of milk. Clover heads are loaded with nectar. The Frigidaire is full of ice-cold drinks. Everywhere you look is life. Even the little ball of spit on the wheat stalk, if you poke it apart, has a green worm inside. And on the underside of the leaf of a potato vine are bright orange eggs of the potato bug. It was on a day in early summer that the goose egg hatched. This was an important event in the barn cellar. Fern was there, sitting on her stool, when it happened. Except for the goose herself, Charlotte was the first to know that the goslings had arrived. The goose knew one day in advance that they were coming, because she could hear their weak voices calling from inside the egg. She knew that they were in desperately cramped position inside the shell and were most anxious to break through and get out, so she sat quite still and talked less than usual. When the first gosling poked its gray-green head through the goose's feathers and looked around, Charlotte spied it and made an announcement. "I am sure," she said, "that every one of us here will be gratified to learn that after 4 weeks of unremitting effort and patience on the part of our friend, the goose, she now has something to show for it. The goslings have arrived. May I offer my sincerest congratulations?" "Thank you, thank you, thank you," said the goose, nodding her and bowing shamelessly. "Thank you," said the gander. "Welcome. Congratulations," shouted Wilbur. "How many goslings are there? I can see only one." "There are 7, said the goose. "Fine," said Charlotte. 7 is a lucky number. "Luck has nothing to do with it," said the goose. "It was a good management and hard work." At this point, Templeton showed his nose from his hiding place under Wilbur's trough. He glanced at Fern, then crept cautiously toward the goose, kept close to the wall. Everyone watched him, for he was not well liked, not trusted. "Look," he began in his sharp voice. "You say you have 7 goslings. There were 8 eggs. What happened to the other egg? Why didn't it hatch?" "It's a dud, I guess," said the goose. "What are you going to do with it?" continued Templeton, his little round beady eyes fixed on the goose. "You can have it," replied the goose. "Roll it away and add it to the nasty collection of yours." Templeton had a habit of picking up unusual objects around the farm and storing them in his home. He saved everything. "Certainly, certainly, certainly," said the gander. "You may have the egg, but I'll tell you one thing, Templeton. If I ever catch you poking your ugly nose around our goslings, I'll give you the worst pounding a rat ever took." And the gander, opening his strong wings, and beat the air with them to show his power. He was strong and brave, but the truth is, both the goose and the gander were worried about Templeton, and with good reason. That rat had no morals, no conscience, no scruples, no consideration, no decency, no lilt of rodent kindness, no compunctions, no higher feelings, no friendliness, no anything. He would kill a gosling if he could get away with it, and the goose knew that. Everyone knew that. With her broad bill, the goose pushed the unhatched egg out of the nest, and the entire company watched in disgust while the rat rolled it away. Even Wilbur could eat almost anything, was appalled. "Imagine wanting a junky old rotten egg," he muttered. "A rat is a rat," said Charlotte. She laughed a tinkling little laugh. "But my friends, if that ancient egg ever breaks, this barn will be untenable." "What does that mean?" asked Wilbur. "It means nobody will be able to live here on account of the smell. A rotten egg is a regular stink bomb." "I won't break it," snarled Templeton. "I know what I'm doing. I handle this stuff like this all the time." He disappeared into his tunnel, pushing the goose egg in front of him. He pushed and nudged till he succeeded in rolling it into his lair, under the trough. That afternoon, when the wind had died down and the barn was quiet and warm, the gray goose led her 7 goslings off the nest and out into the world. Mr. Zuckerman spied them when he came with Wilbur's supper. "Well, hello there," he said, smiling all over. "Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 baby geese. Why, now, isn't that lovely?" So I'll let Mrs. Lusardo know that I read chapter 6 for you. And just remember, after this chapter is when Wilbur gets the bad news, and then Charlotte comes up with her plan. Have a great day, and we'll see you on Monday.
So I guess Serafina told on me for forgetting to do that chapter. I'm so sorry I skipped over that. But that part of the story of the summer days happens before Wilbur gets his bad news from the goose, and also before Charlotte starts to work on her plan. So when we start reading next week, we continue Charlotte's Web, we're going to hear from when they make their plan and they start going on from there. Okay? I'm glad Serafina was able to cover that rest of the story for me. That is a great chapter. So this concludes our study this week of birds. I hope you continue to do bird watching and sketching and all that. It's a wonderful hobby to have, and you learn so much from it, and you really learn to appreciate all of the beauty of the creatures that God has for us on our earth. Next week we're going to start studying a little bit more about the 3 R's, and the 3 R's are reuse, recycle, reduce. And we'll talk about that next week. We'll have some fun songs and some books and activities and all that for you to do with your families. So have a happy Friday, happy birthday, Wesley, and we'll see everybody on Monday. Take care.